How long are we going to let this stash mop our floors before we put him out?
Preston Shaw, COO. Hargrove Industries bleeding $90 million. CEO Nathan Caldwell needed cuts. Preston pointed at one name, Aaron Brooks, custodial, black, 22 years. Aaron stood in the lobby. He held out a folded yellow page.
Mr. Caldwell, I wrote a plan. It could save this company.
Preston snatched it, crumpled it, dropped it in the mop water.
A janitor saving my company? What's next? The dogs run the boardroom? Know your place, boy.
Vivian Cole laughed.
Does he even read?
You're done, Aaron. Clean out your locker.
Aaron bent down, picked up the crumpled page from the puddle, smoothed it, folded it into his breast pocket, walked out. 40 people, nobody spoke. Nathan just threw away the one idea that could save his dying company, worth $2 billion. Aaron's pickup was a 2004 Chevy Silverado with a cracked dashboard and a rear-view mirror held on with electrical tape. He drove 12 miles without turning on the radio. He pulled into the driveway on Elm Terrace. Small brick house, white shutters, chain-link fence. A plastic tricycle tipped over on the lawn. Ellie was in the kitchen. His daughter, 28, single mother, night shift nurse. She had James on her hip, 4 years old, sticky fingers, half-eaten banana. She took one look at her father's face and set the boy down. What happened? Aaron sat at the kitchen table, pulled the crumpled yellow paper from his breast pocket, laid it flat, pressed his palms over the wrinkles. Slow, deliberate. They let me go. Nathan Caldwell, in the lobby, in front of everyone. What about your plan? I gave it to him. Preston Shaw grabbed it, crumpled it, dropped it in the mop water, called me a monkey, called me boy. Vivian Cole asked if I could even read. Silence filled the kitchen like water rising. Ellie sat across from him. Dad, 22 years, not one sick day, and they crumpled you up like trash. Aaron looked at her, calm, unbroken. They crumpled the paper, Ellie, not me. Her tears came, not his. His stayed where they always stayed, somewhere deep and unreachable, behind 22 years of practice. You should sue them. I don't want their money. I wanted them to listen. He slid the yellow paper into a manila folder on the counter and stacked it on top of 14 worn notebooks. 22 years of hand-drawn diagrams, root calculations, vendor analyses. 22 years of writing things down while nobody watched. That night he read James a bedtime story. A bear who lost his hat. He did all the animal voices. He always did. But when the boy was asleep, Aaron sat in the hallway with his back against the wall. In the dark. His hands were shaking. The next morning, Danny Soto sat in his car watching the lobby video for the 11th time. He hadn't planned to record it. He was pushing a mail cart when he saw Aaron hold out that paper, like it mattered more than anything he'd ever carried. Danny reached for his phone. Instinct. The kind you develop when nobody believes you unless you have proof. 48 seconds. Everything captured. The crumple. Know your place, boy. Aaron walking out past 40 people who did nothing. Danny didn't post it. But by noon, the video had traveled through Hargrove's lowest paid workers. Custodians, cafeteria staff, mailroom clerks. Text to text, phone to phone. People who understood exactly what they were watching. That evening, Danny knocked on Aaron's door. They sat at the kitchen table. Danny placed his phone between them and pressed play. Aaron watched himself get humiliated in high definition. Mr. Brooks, I got everything. What do you want me to do? Aaron looked at the frozen image of himself picking up paper from a puddle. Put it away, son. I don't want to destroy anyone. I just wanted them to see what I see. Danny pocketed the phone, but he didn't delete the video. Some things need to exist, even when nobody's ready to see them. 14 miles away, Nathan stared at a spreadsheet bleeding red. Third quarter losses, $90 million. Henderson Logistics threatening to pull a $200 million contract. 3 board members calling, none of them kind. Preston leaned in the doorway. Outsource the Eastern Corridor. I've got 3 vendors, Ridgewell, Stonebridge, Apex. We sign by Friday, we stop the bleeding. Nathan nodded. Put together the deck. The building emptied. The new janitor came through, younger, missed corners, left streaks. Nathan noticed. He'd never noticed before. At 9:15, he walked through the lobby, stopped near the elevator bank. The floor was clean, but not the way Aaron kept it. There was a difference he couldn't name. A young black intern passed him in the hallway. She stepped aside, eyes down, shoulders pulled in, the posture of someone who'd learned to take up less space. Nathan had seen that before, that morning, in a man holding a yellow page. At home, his wife noticed, "You're somewhere else tonight." "I fired a man today, a janitor. He tried to hand me something and He stopped. "What was it?" "I don't know. I didn't read it."
Nathan lay awake until 2.
And somewhere between midnight and dawn, 2 words floated up from the part of his brain that had glanced at that paper for 3 seconds. Root consolidation. He'd seen that phrase before. In a McKinsey report that cost $2 million and took 4 months. 12 Ivy League consultants. 4 months. A janitor had written the same words on a yellow page. For free.
2 weeks ground forward.
Stock slid 6%. Henderson sent a formal letter. 90 days or the contract was gone. Preston's outsourcing plan wasn't landing. Then on a Tuesday, Nathan's phone rang. Theodore Garrison, 71, former VP of Logistics, retired a decade ago, a Hargrove legend. "I read about you in the journal, Nathan. You're sinking. We're managing.
You're drowning.
Did you ever talk to that janitor? Brooks, Aaron Brooks. That man knows more about your supply chain than your entire C-suite. I watched him for 15 years. He'd finish mopping and stand at the routing board for 10 minutes, just looking. I asked him once what he was doing. He said, counting the mistakes. I told your predecessor. Nobody listened. Silence. He's not a janitor, Nathan. He never was. Nathan sat with the dead phone against his ear, then opened his laptop. Aaron Brooks, employee ID 04-1162, 22 years, 0 complaints, 0 absences. He closed the laptop, picked up his car keys, and for the first time in 6 years as CEO, Nathan Caldwell drove south, toward a neighborhood he didn't know existed, to find a man he'd thrown away. Nathan Caldwell had never driven south of Independence Boulevard, not once in 6 years. His world was uptown, glass towers, valet parking, restaurants where the cheapest steak cost more than Aaron Brooks made in a day. Elm Terrace looked like another country. He parked his black Mercedes between a rusted Dodge and a minivan with a missing hubcap. Italian loafers on cracked pavement. A kid on a bicycle across the street stopped and stared at the car like it had landed from space. He knocked.
Ellie opened.
Arms crossed, eyes hard as marble. She recognized him immediately, the man who watched while her father was called a monkey. "You have some nerve showing up here. My father gave your company 22 years, not one sick day, and you let them crumple his work and throw it in a puddle, while your COO called him a monkey and told him to know his place." Her voice was surgical. "So whatever you came to say, make it worth his time, because you already wasted 22 years of it." Aaron's voice from inside, calm. "Let him in, Ellie." She stepped aside, not because she wanted to, because her father asked.
The kitchen was small.
Clean, yellow curtains, refrigerator covered in James's crayon drawings. The table was wood, old, scratched, solid, the kind that had held 1,000 dinners and 1,000 conversations that mattered. Aaron sat at one end, didn't stand, didn't offer a handshake. Between them, a manila folder and 14 worn notebooks stacked beside it. Nathan sat. "Aaron, Ted Garrison called me. He told me about you, about what you've been doing for 22 years. The company is in real trouble, the kind that ends with bankruptcy and 3,000 people out of work. Ted says you understand the supply chain better than anyone at Hargrove." Aaron said nothing. "I need to see what you wrote. Everything." Silence. The refrigerator hummed, A clock ticked above the stove. You already saw it. Nathan blinked. You already saw what I wrote. In the lobby. You let Preston crumple it and throw it in mop water. You didn't stop him when he called me a monkey. When he said, "Know your place, boy." When your VP asked if I could read. You stood there and told me to clean out my locker. In front of 40 people. Nathan had no defense. No corporate language that could repackage what happened. I made a mistake. Aaron shook his head. You made a choice. There's a difference. A mistake is forgetting someone's name. A choice is watching a man get called a monkey and deciding he's not worth defending. Nathan exhaled. You're right. It was a choice. The wrong one. I'm here because my company is dying and the smartest person I've ever ignored might be the only one who can save it. Aaron studied him for a long time, then spoke. I'll help you, but not the way you're imagining. I'm not handing you my notebook so your analysts take credit. If you want what I know, you'll meet my conditions. 5. Non-negotiable. 1. You will apologize to me in the lobby of Hargrove Industries. Same lobby, same time, same employees watching. Not because I need it, because they need to see that a man in a blue uniform has value. 2. My title changes. Operations consultant. Real contract. Real authority. Real seat at the table where I used to vacuum the carpet at midnight. 3. Every custodial and maintenance worker gets a 20% raise, and once a quarter, one of them sits in a strategy meeting. You don't get to use me to feel good while ignoring everyone else who looks like me. 4. You read my notebooks, all 14, every page, before I discuss a single idea. You don't get to skip to the answer. You have to understand the 22 years it took to write the question. 5. If this works, my name goes on it. Not yours, not the board's, mine, Aaron Brooks, because I am done being invisible. Silence. The lawnmower outside had stopped. Even the refrigerator seemed to hold its breath. Ellie's tears ran without sound. Not sad tears, proud tears. The kind a daughter cries when her father becomes the man the world should have seen all along. All 5, Nathan said. All 5. Or I stay in this kitchen and you drive that Mercedes back to your glass tower. All 5. You have my word. Aaron looked at Nathan's extended hand. Looked at it for a long time. Earn it first. Nathan withdrew. For the first time in his professional life, he understood a handshake had to be deserved. He walked to the door. As he stepped onto the porch, Grandpa, who was that man? James, pajama pants, stuffed dinosaur under his arm. Aaron scooped him up, looked through the screen door at the Mercedes pulling away. Someone who's learning, baby. He carried James back, set him down, turned to the table, opened the manila folder, pulled out the crumpled yellow page, still wrinkled, still water-stained. Beneath it, 10 more pages. The full plan he'd been carrying for months. He ran his fingers over the first page of Notebook 1. There, in the margin, handwriting that wasn't his. Smaller, softer, blue ink faded over 20 years. His mother's. Written the week before she died, when she'd found the notebook on his nightstand. I'm so proud of you, baby. Aaron closed his eyes, pressed his fingers against the words. I'm not done yet, Mama. And 200 miles away, a retired old man named Ted Garrison was already on the phone, calling in the one favor that would change everything. Nathan Caldwell kept his word. It took 4 days to arrange. 4 days of calls to HR, legal, communications. 4 days of people in expensive suits telling him it was a terrible idea. He did it anyway. Tuesday morning, 8:47. Same time, same lobby. Word had spread like a current through water. No memo, no announcement. But by 8:30, every floor had emptied. Employees lined the mezzanine balconies, pressed against glass walls, stood along marble corridors. Custodians, analysts, engineers, security guards. 600 people, waiting. Nathan stood in the center. No podium, no teleprompter, just a handheld microphone from the second-floor AV closet. He looked at the floor, the same spot where a crumpled page had landed in mop water 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I stood in this lobby and let a man be humiliated. A man who gave this company 22 years. He tried to hand me his work and I watched it get crumpled up and thrown on the floor he'd just cleaned. I didn't stop it. I didn't defend him. I told him to clean out his locker and walked away. His voice cracked. He didn't hide it.
His name is Aaron Brooks.
What happened here was not a corporate decision. It was a failure of basic human decency. Mine. I am asking Aaron to come back, not as a favor to this company, as an honor we haven't earned yet. The glass doors opened. Aaron walked in. White button-down, no tie. His choice. 600 pairs of eyes. The same 40 feet of marble he'd walked 3 weeks ago in the other direction.
Then a sound from the back.
One pair of hands clapping. Slow, deliberate. Danny Soto, beside his mail cart. One person joined. Then 20. Then the lobby erupted. Not applause exactly, but something raw. Part relief, part grief, part recognition. 600 people acknowledging they'd stood here 3 weeks ago and said nothing. This was their apology, too. Aaron stopped 3 feet from Nathan. Nathan extended his hand. Aaron looked at it, nodded once. "We'll see."
He didn't take it.
Nathan lowered his hand. He understood. Some things need time to earn. That night, Nathan began reading. Notebook 1. Aaron's handwriting. Small, precise, the penmanship of a man who'd learned to be careful with everything because he'd never been given much. First page, dated 22 years ago. Clean the 4th floor. The routing board in the logistics office has 3 errors. Nobody's noticed. By the 3rd notebook, Nathan was sitting on his office floor, notebooks in a semicircle, cross-referencing Aaron's hand-drawn maps with digital logistics data on his laptop. Notebook 6, page 42. The entire Eastern distribution corridor diagrammed in pencil on graph paper. Every hub, every transfer point. Below the diagram, projected savings from route consolidation. $120 million annually.
Nathan pulled up Hargrove's internal analytics from 2019.
Same corridor, same variables. Proprietary software that cost $4 million to develop. Aaron's hand-drawn estimate was within 2.3% of the computer model. No software, no database, no degree. Just a man who mopped the logistics floor every night and paid attention. 3 in the morning. Empty building. Nathan whispered to the dark, "My God, he was right about everything."
He picked up Notebook 9.
Stopped at a page different from the rest. No diagrams, shakier hand. Ink slightly smeared. 14 years ago, the day after Aaron's mother's funeral. She said I stole nothing. She said I was building something. She said every floor I cleaned was a classroom. I have to believe her. If I stop believing her, I have nothing left. Nathan closed the notebook gently. Sat in the dark for a long time. Thursday. Aaron's first strategy session. 38th floor conference room. Mahogany table. 12 leather chairs. Windows overlooking Charlotte. Aaron used to vacuum this carpet at midnight. Now, he sat at the table. Notebooks in front of him. Nathan to his right. CFO across. Head of Analytics. VP of Distribution. And at the far end, Preston Shaw and Vivian Cole. Aaron stood, opened Notebook 6. His voice was quiet but absolute. No filler, no apologies. Hargrove runs 11 regional routes feeding 4 vendor layers. 6 routes overlap by more than 30%. 3 vendor layers add cost without capacity. Consolidate to 6 corridors. Eliminate the redundant layers. You save $120 million in year 1. By year 3, $340 million. He turned the notebook around. Pencil on graph paper. Every route labeled. Every cost calculated. The CFO studied it for 30 seconds. You're certain about $120 million?
Page 42.
Calculated it 8 years ago. The numbers have only gotten worse, which means the savings have gotten bigger. Silence. The kind that falls when powerful people realize the smartest person in the building had been emptying their trash cans for 2 decades. But Nathan wasn't watching all the faces. He should have been. At the far end, Preston Shaw had gone white. Not impressed, terrified. 3 of the 4 redundant vendor layers were his shell companies: Ridgewell, Stonebridge, Apex. 40 million siphoned over 6 years. Aaron's plan mapped the exact nodes Preston used to steal. Aaron's plan wasn't just brilliant, it was accidentally lethal. Preston smiled at the table. Interesting, but I'd want consultants to verify before we bet the company on a pencil drawing. Aaron looked at Preston for the first time, held his gaze for 3 seconds, turned back to his notebook. Pencil doesn't lie. Over the next 2 weeks, something shifted. Nathan and Aaron worked together daily, not as CEO and consultant, more like 2 men learning each other's language. Aaron brought Nathan to his neighborhood, a diner on Elm Terrace, Formica counter, coffee and ceramic mugs. The cook knew Aaron's order. The mailman waved. A woman from the laundromat stopped to ask about James. "These are the people I build systems for," Aaron said.